All right. Looks like we are connected. Hopefully, this live stream doesn't get disconnected like it did on Monday. It was kind of frustrating, and if you look at my live streams on YouTube, it ended up getting cut up into like 2 different videos. But it seemed like it cut out like a handful of times, which was kind of annoying, but that's okay. So we are back. Monday I threw a 7-pound vase, so that means this week today, Thursday, still the same week, but that means that I'm going to be throwing 8 pounds. So I'm going to try to throw something a little bit more narrow and taller. So that means I'm going to have to make a cylinder that's a lot taller. So we'll see how that goes. I also I'm going to throw first with 3 pounds that I have weighed out over here. I'm thinking about trying to make a jar. So it might be too much clay and it might end up being a pretty big jar, but I might try to make something like that I can use to make like a honey pot, I guess. So like a jar with a lid, but it has like a cutout for a little spoon to go in. So we'll see. But like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. Ty's back, said ready for the challenge of weight and shape you're aiming for. I'm as ready as I can be. I'm not sure if the chat is showing up. Are you guys able to see the chat up in like the top left-hand corner? It seems like it's there now. I don't know if it was there before. I think I first saw it on Monday. Chico's23 said, cool, can't wait to see what you make. Thanks, yeah, I'll see if anything okay comes out. But here we go. Yeah, I think this is going to be too much clay for a jar. Okay, cool. I'm glad that the chat is in the live stream. I didn't see. I mean, I guess I might not have been able to notice it that well because I have like on the Restream thing that I use to stream across YouTube and Twitch. There's like stuff kind of covering that area, but I thought that like there was an issue with it where it like wasn't connecting, and I haven't changed anything. So yeah. Potty says hello. Hello, Potty. How's everything going with everyone here in the chat? Thanks for participating in the chat. Have you made anything cool recently, Potty? So now that I'm like getting started, I probably should have looked up like some different honey pots, and like even just like looked at some images, because I'm not really sure how like wide to make this, but I guess this will be the one that I'm learning from. Ty said, completed the last day of school. I can sleep now. That's awesome. I'm sure it's nice to have summers off and not have to grade papers and do all the extra work that you have to do after teaching. So with this, I'm probably going to start with a somewhat wide round disc, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to make it kind of more rounded, like have it bellied, or if I want to make it like a jar how I usually make that has pretty straight sides. Patty said, yeah, some lidded pots from order. Oh, that's cool. So do you have like a website, or just get like one-off requests from people for specific pieces to make? To get this centered. No, just Pati said, I guess you guys can see the chat, but Pati said no, just locally. Oh, okay. Pati, how big were the lidded jars that you made? And were they lidded pots that you threw on the wheel, or did you have, did you do slip casting for those? This is definitely way too much clay to throw a lidded jar with. Pati says 500 mLs and 250 mLs. So I think that's like usually it's like 2.2 pounds per kilo. Oh, you threw them off the hump. I've tried throwing off the hump somewhat recently, and it didn't turn out too well. But I think like when I was doing, I think I was maybe like 8 months into throwing, and I threw off the hump, and it felt really good. But the last time that I tried throwing off the hump, maybe like, I want to say like 2 months ago, maybe, it didn't feel right. I think mostly for me it was cutting the pieces off, like off of the hump, and then the pieces like didn't cut off flat, and so I just felt weird when I pulled it off and put it on like a wear board. Oh yeah, this is way too much clay. Potty, when you threw the lidded pots, were you trying to throw really similar sized pieces, or were they all kind of okay to be a little bit different? Yeah, I don't know what you would put in a lidded jar this big. I probably could throw with like half this clay for a honey pot. Oh wow, you threw 25 that were similar size off the hump. That's impressive. Because when you're throwing off the hump, you're not able to use like a gauge or anything to try to make sure that they're pretty much the same size, because each time that you throw, the clay is getting lower and lower. What do you do to make sure that they're pretty similar size? Do you use like handheld calipers or anything? Pati said, yeah, I used calipers and a ruler in pretty much everything. Muscle memory. That makes sense. I guess, yeah, not using like a gauge, but having like calipers and a ruler. And then once you've made a handful, you kind of just try to use the same technique over and over again. I probably should clean my tools more frequently, but I don't. Pati said some can be off by millimeters, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, if you're only off by a couple millimeters, you're making stuff that's very, very similar in size. Pati asked, are you making lidded jar too? I am making a lidded jar. I'm probably going to make the lid. I didn't wedge any clay for, like enough clay for a lid, so I'll probably make a lid separately for this. But I'm just kind of testing out because I want to make like a lidded jar that has like a little cutout in the lid where you can put a little spoon in for it to be kind of like a honey pot-ish type of thing. So this is kind of just me trying to figure out, one, how much clay to use, which this was probably way too much, and then I'll be trying to figure out the lid that I want to make, because I usually like making, actually let me grab the other jar that I have real quick. I've probably shown it on here before, but these are the lidded jars that I like to make. I'm not sure how well you guys can see it, but making a lidded jar like this and trying to like cut out a piece for a spoon probably wouldn't be great. So I'm probably going to have to try to do a different lid design if I want to put a spoon in it. and asked which kiln do you use. We have a kiln here at home that only goes hot enough for bisque fires, and I don't even remember what kind of kiln that is. And then we do all of our glaze firing at the Pottery studio, and they just have electric kilns that go to cone 06. So, or not cone 06, cone 6. Sorry about that. So, I'm not sure if they're like scut or what they are. What kind of kilns do you use? I probably should have cleaned this off before. But I'm not that organized with my cleaning of stuff. Hopefully I can get this off the wheel. I'm probably gonna let this get leather hard, trim it, and then probably do reclaim because I don't know if there's anything that this would be useful for. But there we go. So when I trim this, probably what I'll do is I'll try to make this wall more straight and then make these angles more pronounced. But I might try to make a lid for this and see how it goes. Patti says, I use DIY ones. What do you mean by DIY? Do you use like do you do like wood fire and like in a trash can or like a drum, metal drum or something? Or do you guys have like a brick kiln that you've made yourself? Oh, I should have weighed that last ball of clay, but it was 3 pounds. So the next iteration of the honey pot, I'll probably end up just using somewhere between like 1.5 pounds and 2 pounds, or maybe I should probably do some research on how big honey pots should be on average. I'm sure they come in a lot of different sizes, but I think for most people that's probably too big. Patti said, I have a downdraft wood kiln for bisque and electric kiln for glaze firing. Oh, cool. That's pretty impressive. All right. So we have 8 pounds for this. So I'm gonna try to see if I can make a taller more narrow vase. But sometimes when I say I'm going to try to make something, most of the time it doesn't really end up being what I am thinking or trying to do. Patti said, build myself works pretty well. You built the electric kiln and the wood fire kiln, or just the wood fire kiln? You built both the kilns yourself? That's impressive. How'd you learn how to build both those kilns yourself? Did some research and experiments. That's really cool. It's going to be hard to center all of this. Patti said, it's not an automatic kiln. I have to manually control the temperature. Hey, even if it's a manual kiln and you're able to make it yourself, that's really cool that you were able to do that. What do you use to measure the temperature? Do you have like a temperature sensor in it, or just use like some type of thermometer throughout the process? It's probably centered enough. Patti said used fire brick, fiber blanket, and cathal wire. Build a box out of iron frame. Use thermocouple for measuring temperature and PID control for controlling. Oh, that's pretty cool. So you kind of got like all the components that you needed for like a normal kiln and then just kind of built it yourself with some like high temperature iron frame. How deep that is? It's probably as deep as I want to go then. I'm probably going to leave a good amount of clay in the bottom of this, probably just to kind of hopefully give it some more like foundation, I guess. Patti said, are you throwing a skinny neck vase? I don't know if I'm going to throw a skinny neck vase, but I want to throw a more narrow, taller vase. So we'll see. We'll see once I get this opened and pulled up a little bit. Pati said, need to make a narrow cylinder for throwing tall. Yeah. And that's kind of why I started with the clay. Like, I started opening up with the clay a lot taller than I usually do. And that's hopefully the goal is I'll be able to get it a little taller. This clay is probably going to get a little overworked, but that's me learning. Okay, I'm probably going to see if I can get one more pull out of this. Pati said, pull as much clay as possible from the bottom. Okay, I'll see if I can get one more in, and then I'll do a little bit of shaping. Don't throw the slip. Basically, my water is slip at this point, too. Okay. Yeah, this is probably the tallest piece I've made. Let's see if I can get one more in here a little bit better. My hand is way too dry in there. I need to wet the walls inside a little bit. Ty said, "Is this the tallest piece you made?" Yes, this is probably the tallest piece I've made, especially like a cylinder. And then said, "My heart stops when I see the wobble." Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the wobble either, but I'm gonna probably try to color in the rim a little bit, and then see if I can. I guess I might make this a narrow neck vase. I think it's a little too dry there. Patty said, make a little belly at the top, 1/3 of the height. Ugh, I don't know if I can reach in that far. I might leave that as kind of like a bud vase shape up here then. That's probably good. Okay. I think that's probably where I'll finish it. Thank you, Patti, for all the tips. It really does help out. All right. Well, that's what I got for today. Thank you all for watching and for the encouragement on trying to make some bigger pieces and different stuff than I'm used to making and kind of trying some new stuff. I will be back again on Tuesday, and that will be 9 pounds. So I've actually really enjoyed throwing with more and more clay every week. I kind of feel a little bit more comfortable throwing with a little bit more clay. And this was fun to do something that was more narrow and had a little character at the top. But Bati said, keep throwing until it feels natural. Yeah, I'm going to keep working on it. I'm going to try to become a better potter. I have the pieces from Monday that I need to trim, and then I'll let these dry out and probably trim these maybe later in the weekend, maybe Sunday or something. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, Friday, and the weekend. If you guys aren't yet, I do post videos also on TikTok, some on Instagram, and some on like my shorts and stuff after this, but it's really just this same stuff, mostly sped up. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do all the stuff. Thank you everyone for participating in the chat, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday.